Hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the show. Ah, you guys, I always give myself 15 minutes because there's always something happening in life. So I was like, "Stop now, my 15." And here I am. What time is it? 7:00. Welcome to Letstalkwithmsfe. My name is Lucia. I'm your host. Super excited to I am been. How was Sunday? You guys tonight, just bear with me. I don't know. I try with this makeup. I try my best, but this ain't my best. So welcome tonight. I hope StreamYard, the gods of heaven and everywhere, Jesus, help me. But yeah, tonight we're talking about a topic that, in my opinion, it's quite adult-ish, adult-ish. So if you have your littles around you, please tell those littles to turn them. Okay. So tonight it's gonna be adult-ish. So take all those babies away from you and let's do this thing. Take the kids away from you. Take the little ones from there. Huh? Because this conversation not for children. And you gotta be mature, grown, and ready for this other topic because we are getting into it. We're gonna talk about it. Um, you guys, I'm looking at something and it's not adding up. Something that how yeah, hold on. You're bear with me. I'm late and then I'm late. See how that works? I'm late and I'm late. So tonight, uh, what is this? I'm sorry. Sorry guys. What's going on? So let's be real. Ooh, Richmond appear. Hey,
That's all.
I know you're tired hearing my apologies, but
No, it's not that. It's just this new job I started is draining the living daylight out of me.
get some rest.
So,
You oh,
I have work by. I have to head by 5 a.m. in the morning. I have another work.
ooh, yeah, you should get off of here early and go get some rest.
I will. But at least I like to start the show.
Okay.
Then after that, if I fall asleep, I fall asleep.
I'm I'm sleep deprived and I feel it in my body. But yeah, there remain thousands of miles. But anyways, let's jump into it. It's you and I. We're going to try to knock this out real quick. I hope nobody comes and try to drag us back because they be doing that. I don't like it.
Good luck with that.
I don't like it. I don't like when people come on and then they want to start all with it. I'm like, well, I almost got it in. But yeah, welcome to the show, everybody. Today we're talking about something very disclaimer if you're babies are around. Yeah. Oops, sorry, I'm in my office again. If your babies are around, make sure you close their ears. And it's not about why are they up? They need to be sleeping. Please put them to bed first. Oh, you guys, I didn't mean to post this in the comment section, but anyways, I was trying to post the link. But that is the topic, just in case if you're keep asking, because some people keep asking about that. Let me put the link in the comment section while we do this small little talk. Tonight's topic is about the church silent about sex. Okay, I'm gonna say this in a way that hurts Christians. You know, when I was growing up, I heard so many sermons about it before I even got to it. Before I even knew of it, I heard about it. I mean, I could put one and two together and I know that's what they're talking about. And before I even got to even be involved in that, I already knew what it was. But nowadays there's a lot of conversation. I feel like it's a taboo in the church these days. And I don't understand why. It shouldn't be. And definitely tonight, this topic is one of those. Why is this such a iffy, type of things people don't want to talk about it? Yeah, talk about abortion. You'll talk about everything else. Why is it that we can't have a healthy conversation about this, when it's a major part of Christianity, in my opinion? But yeah, welcome back to Let's Talk with Miss P. Tonight we're diving into this topic. I feel like many churches tiptoes when they talk about it. I saw a video once where the pastor was so annoyed because all the church members were having kids out of wedlock and they were throwing baby shower in the church, and like some of the church members were doing baby shower. It's happening, Richmond. It's happening. I promise you. It's happening like hot cakes in the church. Nobody really want to say, oh, you shouldn't be having premarital sex before marriage. But you have the baby. Okay, babies are blessings. Yeah, we know that. But if a teen is having a baby, that we don't even know what the partner is, or even people who they marry again. Let me just disclaimer: I'm not judging you. Okay, I have my own dirt on myself. Everybody got that dirt. I'm just stating the fact that if we're going to be Christian, we need to be wholeheartedly. I'm not saying having kids out of wedlock is the biggest sin because I know that's what everybody's gonna say. Um, we've all sinned. We've all been in that boat, but that doesn't make it right that we can't talk about it.
But there's the
So
thing though. What if the person isn't actually doing it out of wedlock? What if the person went and did maybe IVF, or maybe the person went to a sperm bank and decided to have a random person's semen injected into them just for them to have a child? That's your choice.
that's true.
So at the end of the day, the pastor has no rights to be inventing into somebody else's business. That is none of his business. Sure, it's happening in your church. Doesn't mean that you should judge or you should be getting angry with the person, because even the pastor himself is not holy.
Right.
So the
I
God always says, if you this thing, he who is without sin cast the first stone. At the end of the day, he's acting like he himself is holy. What if he himself has even slept with somebody else and impregnated somebody else that he doesn't even know about? Then what?
I agree.
Huh?
Anna said, it looks like Anna is watching. Anna, I thought you were sleeping. I'm being trying to watch something to drop you to sleep. I do that all the time. Um, Thank you for following along. And I said, IVS is not sex, though. I agree, and that's why I was about a rebuttal. Richmond is not. We're not talking about people who decide because they can't have children. In that route. We're talking about. We know Scripture talk about immorality, right? And sex is at the top of that. Um, she said. She said she can't sleep on her favorite show that's on. Aw, look at you.
It's reality though, that's the thing. Yes, IVF is not sex, understandable. But people go to the sperm bank for a reason. It's not everybody that is interested in the craziness that comes with marriage. Marriage has changed in this society that we live in. So you cannot expect, there are people that want to have a child, women want to have children, but at the same time don't want to be married. So are you basically saying because of that you should go force them into getting married just for them to have the same kids that they want? And then at the end of the day, if they get married now and then they have divorce, then what? Are you then going to criticize them for that? It's just the way of life. Yes. Sex is a new thing. Well, the church needs to start adjusting into reality and stop living in the olden days because whether they like it or not, it is happening. So it's either they get to the straight point and talk about it because whether they like it or not, sex is in the Bible too. So all that one that they are trying to prevent, act like they are all innocent and stuff as if they don't have their own dirty laundry is a waste of time. And that is the reason why at the end of the day, they are pushing people away from church because you are pretending. That is equivalent to pretense. If you are pretending, and at the end of the day, nobody wants to listen because they're going to assume that you are fake. It's just reality. Sex is there. Churches talk about it because at the end of the day, it is still in the Bible and it is still going to happen. It's not as if, yes, they say it's supposed to be between man and wife, and then they expect women to stay virgins till eternity until they get married. Well, things has changed. So sex is happening. Churches should start talking about it. So that way you will help your members understand this thing. So at least you will lead them in the right path. And then they'll be able to start heading in the right direction. But if you're not talking about it and then the sin happens, then don't blame them because you too, you are at fault. Because you are pretty much like their parent, which in this case, you as the father and as the mother in Christ should teach them about things. It's the same way it comes down to if you don't start teaching your children about sex um, at the young age, when the thing is happening, they will not understand. It's the same thing with the church.
What age?
Huh?
What
Nice try. You want to put me under the microscope and put me in trouble. That one, I will leave it for you to understand. You are the mommy, so you can tell, you can talk that one. Because even me, I don't even know what age. And I will not lie, I don't know the age. I just know you have to talk to them at a certain age. And schools have started talking to them about it. So,
so I said, do you think churches don't talk about sex because they are scared of losing members? I do. I really do.
yes.
I think they are. It's a very slippery slope because a lot of people, I think the appropriate, I don't want to give an age and I don't want to put myself out there either. I think the Bible talk about reaching maturity, right? when you reach maturity, when you can reason and put one and two together, and I know some kids are young and they're very, very, very mature. I like to believe I was one of those kids that was very mature for my age, but that didn't mean I was involved in sex. And I think the thing is, most parents think the more they talk about it, the interest build, which is wrong. I don't think interest builds only by talking about it, and this is why school is trying to get involved with that. But if you were to ask me, I would say if I have to give an age, I would say at the age of 21 because it's legal. It's a legal.
21.
Good.
I thought you were even going to say you can start talking about it with them at the age of 10.
No, no, no,
Doesn't mean that they're going to do it.
no. She asked, "What is the the appropriate age?" I think at the age of 13, you can start introducing that conversation, not in depth, but I think the first conversation should be coming from parents. They should talk about it. But there's something that and I said 8 to 14. It's
Exactly.
young.
Me, I would have gone with 10, but you're saying
I think 8 is too young. I think okay, I understand eight
school is already teaching them, so you got to get ahead of it.
bodies. Well, my daughter know about her bodies, but we're not talking about sex. She's 3 years old. Can you imagine? She'll tell you this is my body. It's very a song. And she said, if we're talking about my private, nobody should touch it. Like we're talking about that. That's an introduction stage, but where you really talk about the bee, when we used to call it birds and the bee, like
Mm-hmm.
talk about it. I really think age 13 is a really good age when it depends if your child starts hitting puberty early, then you could talk about it. But for me, I observe everything about my kids. So I know my daughter is going to be mature before my son. So she and I would definitely have conversation about it before. It just depends if their mind is ready for it. If they ask and they're curious. But for me, I will wait till 13 and then we start introducing that, even though right now we're talking about body mechanics, like what my body is, what does it do, who doesn't have access to my body and things like that. I think those are appropriate questions and conversation to discuss around that. Do you expect her 8 to 14? That's how at that time their body is changing and you don't have to talk about sex explicitly, but you can really dive deeper as they get older.
So, who do you think is supposed to have that conversation? The father or the mother?
I think it depends on the child. I think both parents can talk to either kids, but I think it's appropriate for mom to talk to daughter because daughter, what do you know about a woman's body? You don't know nothing about it. I
Well,
think men, when I hear men say, I'm done with having kids," I'm like, you don't have control over that. We didn't have control over it. You can have control and say you're done having kids. If a woman wants to have kids, she can have kids. She knows when she's flowering.
it is well.
But and I agree. I think both parents should have that conversation because when it coming from dad to a daughter, she understand it from a different standpoint, and then when it's coming from mom, she understand it from a different, perspective. So I really do think both should definitely talk to their kids about it. I agree. What do you think? But I want us to go back to the topic. I want us to go back to the topic. This is getting really good. I want us to go back to the topic because I think Richmond, you struck a very interesting. Um, you said a very interesting statement. You said the church should teach, right? How can a church teach when the people are not ready? for that? Like, how the church itself is ready for the conversation? Because before that, let's talk about us. Right? We
I think the church is just scared because at the end of the day, when you go to African churches, what are the majority of the populations that you see? There are elders there, right?
yeah,
Do you really think a young man that is a pastor will feel comfortable wanting to talk about sex where elders are at? No, no, because they will feel like the elders are going to look down on them or feel some kind of way and feel uncomfortable. So at the end of the day, they want to respect that elder. So they will not want to talk about it. But at that point, you are also putting others at a disadvantage because the elders have come and passed their own time.
true.
Society is changing. Technology has changed, of which the elders are not adjusting to. But the youth and the young folks that you're dealing with now, if you don't talk to them about it, then how do you expect them to refrain from committing the so-called sin if you don't educate them? The youths have to be educated about it. And
I
those
agree.
of themselves that are not even youths that has now grown into adults that are in the church, some of them I know fully well are too much of a virgin that they don't even know reality of how life works because they haven't done it before. So then now they will now go and do something wrong and then it will lead to something else. So it's still something that has to be educated, whether grandma, grandpa, or mommy and daddy is there, it still has to be preached.
Hmm. I do think it has to be preached, but let's just think about the society we're in right now. Everybody's afraid of, before back then, you and I could literally walk around if I told you, I didn't know what that means. You will literally believe it, right? But nowadays, if somebody says something and you're like, I don't know what that means, you're like, what? Where are you living? Because it's everywhere. Even like cartoons. You got to be careful what your kids are watching. The cartoons that's sneaking it in a little bit. Like if you really pay attention to things they're watching, they're sneaking into it. That's why my kids only watch these nursery rounds that are just A B C D E F. Like they probably be wondering like, why we're not watching movies. No, we're not, because there's so much like I'm trying to preserve their innocence as much as I can for now. And I don't want people to like sneak into that. Yeah, that's good that both of your parents were, they're not like the typical like African then, because both of my parents, shoot, you guys, they didn't talk to me about that. I learned about that from friend, and I had to kind of ask questions. They were like, yeah, But I think that's the part when you're the youngest of all these older siblings, because nobody gonna talk to you about it. But I don't think it's
True.
right. It's wrong. You should be able to talk to your kids because you're the first teacher. You're the first everything. So it's better that you talk to them about it to learn it from you. But Anna wrote something. She said, "I agree. This remind me of the SCD too. Yeah, children and youth experiment, and that's how they explore about sex rather than having knowledge about sex inappropriate touching." Yeah, I agree about that. I think a lot of people should do this before even the school getting, because I started teaching my kids about private. They already knew the song before. They're teaching them in kindergarten and
Of
preschool.
course, these are my private parts, private parts.
Like,
When I heard that song, I just started laughing. I was like, what? You already teaching them this song? Oh, God.
it's scary too, because they're hearing it from home, they're hearing it from school. The reason I say that,
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of children, you don't know where homes they're coming from, right? They're
True.
also a lot of things, and now they think they can experiment on other children. So I think it's appropriate. I don't think they should be in depth about it with them. They should take their time how they're saying it to them. So he said nothing is censored these days here. We need to normalize patron what is it? Patronizing kids channels and focus on our parenting our kids rather than letting the media do it for us. I agree. That's why media time needs to be very short. I feel like kids these days don't understand like media is for entertainment, right? Instead, it's become like part of daily living. Like, you know, like it's part of daily living. But let's jump into this because I know Richmond gotta go sleep. Richmond is tired. Even I myself, I'm super. I don't know why this whole weekend I'm exhausted, you guys. Like I don't know. There's- I'm getting tired.
But yeah, seriously, in regards to that church thing, the church needs to start
Yeah,
doing it. If they haven't been doing it, they need to start teaching it because it is necessary that you teach it. The youth are growing because whether you like it or not, if the school is already teaching it, then the church should adapt to it. But at the same time, teach the right thing to the kids.
right.
Because if they're learning from school, what if they're learning the wrong thing in the school? And then it causes problems down the line. And then you will see at some point where some of the mommies and daddies, because they hold a position in church, if their kids now go and have a child out of wedlock, now it causes another head of this thing. But have they then thought about, did the church take the initiative to actually educate people about this thing? Educate it. Show them the real truth about it. At least you don't need to make it in a nasty method. You got to make it in a clean method. But there are some churches that are currently talking about it. There's one woman of God, actually two women of God, that for some reason they've been all over the internet. They talk about sex. They even talk about the this thing that women should stop depriving their husbands of sex because the body belongs to the man and all those things. But the funny part is, I don't even see the men talking about it. It's women that I've seen, women that are ministers of God, that are talking about it. And what they are trying to do is as if they are talking to their fellow women. But at the
They,
same time, there are other aspects to it too that they need to talk about. And man of gods need to also talk about it. Because even if the women are talking to the women, then man of God, talk to the males as well. So that way you will lead the brothers in Christ in the right direction. And you will help them to know how to respect themselves, but also respect the women.
I
Because if you're not teaching them that, then at the end of the day, they're just going to be nuisance and they're just going to be doing stupid things out there and using women like objects,
mm,
which is not the right thing to do. So, educate them would help them, one, grow and do things the right way, but they will at least have that knowledge. They will know that hey, there's certain things you do, there's certain things you don't do, and you got to respect it because sex, even though they say sex is supposed to be between husband and wife, but at the same time, you will know. And then if you decide that okay, because I want to have sex so bad, I love this girl, then ungwanu, go and put a ring on the finger.
I watch.
After you have married it, then now you will now proceed. You have done, if as soon as you even do court wedding self, you don't need to go and do white wedding like everybody thinks that's the actual wedding. No, traditional court wedding is considered as actual wedding. You marry there, then bam, you know now you can go and do your happy activity in the middle of the night because now you are now husband and wife in the court system, and there you go. It's as simple as that. It's a win-win for both people.
So you, you gave us a whole speech and it's good. So what I got from that is I agree, but I disagree with you. I don't think people should go get married because it should be, for the whole sex to be okay in the church, right? I don't think that you're married
I was just being sarcastic when I said that. If somebody is going to go and get married just because of that, then I feel sorry for them because it's going to end in disaster real quick.
because listen and then listen to things in different ways. So I was just like, no, 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 don't get married because of that, because there's a lot that comes with marriage. But I want us to let's go back to the topic really quickly, okay? So we're talking about church. You give a lot of really good points. I want us to look at it from these key points, right? Silence versus shame, right? How the church conversation was framed. Back then, sex was taboo. You can't talk about it. Like, what? Who are you? Even adults sitting around, even they hear the S word. It's just like, oh, she's doing it. She's doing it because she said it. You know, I don't know if you guys experience this, but I experience it. Whenever you as soon as music comes on and there's something, oh my gosh. But the problem with this is that I feel like this created among Christians is that many churches teach abstinence but never talk about healthy sexuality, right? It is sex, sex is it's of Christian. God designed it for us. But you telling someone, yeah, stay away from me, don't do it until you get married, cause another issue. Because now people are waiting to get married and they got married and married the wrong person. And then they got there, another thing came up, right? Silence often translate into shame, especially for young Christians. Like some of the parents don't think that's something to talk about until they were, whatever age their parents decided. And then adults entering into marriage thinking is guilt. And that's why some people hold sex from their partner because that mentality. Some you don't have some people minding. Oh, stay away from sex. Sex is not good. If you do it, you're gonna die. I obviously people don't think that they're your kids, but some people don't have that healthy conversation about the enjoyment of sex. It's good. It's part of life. It's not taking kind of like eating food. If you eat overeat, you're gonna get obese. And not eating within the frame of what you're supposed to eat, you get a different result. Same thing with sex. Everything in life has side effects. And I feel like a lot of churches don't do this because of one, staying pure. Don't have sex until you get married. Don't do this until you get rid. Like the pressure of being pure and creating this, which is causing more issue than it is. Hey, we're living in a world now. Everybody can do what they want to do. I don't care if you're my parents. I don't care if you're the pastor. In fact, I did the pastor's son. That's what people be doing now. Even the pastor's son are doing whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
if only the church will open up and look at sex in a different way, like they have Sunday school. Something I like now that I see in most churches, they have young single women, right? Young adults that are not the single group. Then they have the young married group. Then they have the older married group. Like in these big churches that you're in, they're forming these communities to help young women out. Someone who will talk about these conversations. That is like it's kind of weird if I'm sitting there and my mom is talking to me about sex, and I'm just like, ah, what about this? But it's easier if someone around my age is sitting with me, we're in a group, I feel like I can relate. It's like, okay, how do I date? How do I court someone and not like be physical with them? How? This is how you teach them. Instead of saying, step you, step, it's kind of like saying, Don't eat that food. If you eat that food, you'll die. Don't eat it. But you're not really telling me what's in the food that's going to cause me to die, right? That's where human mind is. Okay, if you're telling me not to do it, what is in there that's going to cause me that? You know, and that's where I feel like a lot of people are not, the church is not really doing a good job on that. Like the purity culture trauma. Have you heard of that? Like the trauma that most people are in. Pressure to stay pure create fear, self-judgment, and perfection. Women are often told that their value equals purity. I don't know how many times I've heard that. You know, that was I sat in a church where the entire sermon was about, yeah, don't you can't have a boyfriend because if you have a boyfriend, you'll be tempted to have sex. You can't get married young because if you get married next week, there's baby coming. And it's like, are you teaching people to have self control and to understand? Because if we look at the gospel of Jesus, he didn't force anybody, he didn't force anyone. Everybody has self will. It was like, if you believe what I say, pick up your cross and follow me, right? Can you come and say, yeah, because you, even adulteral woman that came to him cutting her hair with his feet, the most expensive, like herb, you know, for him, and he didn't shoot her away and say, "Ah, you're demonic, stay away from me." He didn't say that. He sat there. She did what she had to do, and they were ready to stone him. Stone the lady, and he's like, "You without sin, you're the first stone." But I feel like even though that is in context, a lot of people misuse that term just because, and I'm going to play devil's advocate at the same time, just because the Bible talk about stoning and you without flaws doesn't mean if I see my brother or my sister doing wrong, I can't tell them the truth because I know the truth. And I feel like that's where the world is at right now. It's learning about the truth, learning how to communicate the truth to people. Um, let's go to this would be like one of our shortest shows. Oh,
That's the thing, though. Even if they are saying, because you were saying that doesn't mean that you can't tell your brother or sister the truth. But at the end, if that your brother or sister has seen you yourself fornicating and doing it, do you then think they want to listen to you? No, because
no,
then they will call you a hypocrite.
they
So
wouldn't.
it's still the same thing now. They will still consider you as a hypocrite. So at the end, but your body, the way you carry yourself, would define how a person would address you and if they're going to listen to you. If they see you as somebody that is actually genuine, that even outside of the church, because don't forget, there are people, there are sisters and brothers in church that in church they'll act all holy, 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 now, but outside they are the biggest fornicators. So
Yeah.
then, what would you say? Because they'll go outside, they'll go and commit sin Monday to Saturday. They are people of the world, and then on Sunday morning you'll be surprised, or you see them in the club the night before. The following day now, you will see them. They'll be the biggest ones that will be cheering and doing all holy, dye their hair and look like Mary Magdalene in church. So at the end of the day, my dear, we have to be careful. Oh. We have to be careful.
This is my something. So, you know what? That's true. So let me tell you a funny story. A few years ago, I went to a church. Um, for crossover night. That's my favorite time to go to church because you see everybody who's never been in church trying to be the holiest of holies. The church is packed. People are on their knees praying, God, change my life. Let me enter into 2026 with the blessing of God. Like you hear all the tongues people are speaking in. So it was funny. Right after church, while I was this, I think this was in 2019, no, 2018 when we were crossing over to 2019. I was at church. I was reluctant. I wanted to stay home and just watch it and pray by myself. But I was like, no, let me go to church. So I got dressed. I went to church. Funny thing is, there was somebody looking. Somebody was trying to get a girlfriend at church too.
Hmm.
So I'm praying. I got done. Came outside. I saw a bunch of people changing to go to the club.
uh,
I
that's
can't
life.
imagine, but I'm just like, it just didn't add up to me. Like, you just sat in there, pour your heart, you want to change, you want to this, and then you're okay. That's what works for you. That's okay. But people always say, "Don't judge me, don't do this, don't do that." One thing I want people to do is I want people to read the Book of Revelation. I know a lot of people, including you, you just said this is the new age stuff. But there's a reason when the Bible said God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. If you've ever read the Bible cover to cover, every time you go back and read it, there's a new revelation. You learn something different. I don't know if it was intentional. Well, the Bible is intentional, anyways, in my opinion. Every time you go there and you want to read the scripture, when you read it, there's a different understanding. There's a different, which for me, I believe is still the same. Maybe our understanding has changed from what it is, how we want to understand it, how we want to apply it to our life. Because if you chat, I'm going to be judged by you, regardless, if you really understand. Like, I can say, oh, the world was so sinful. God, I couldn't do this. God was like, no. Rich man was living in the same world, and rich man was able to live, you know, without doing what you did. So, what excuse do you have? Oh, my life was harder than rich man? No. So, I think we all have to be our brothers and sister keeper, but we have to understand how to relate the message. It's not just because if you look at you said something earlier about women. I've come across this video, women preaching about women not in their relationship upholding intimacy, sex from husband. You should do this, you should do that. But if we really come back, it's just people lack the education of what sex really is, and they just think, well, if I'm mad, I should. And then it's also, I'm about to say this, and I know probably people are going to come for me for this one. But when I hear people say, it's my body, I can do whatever I want. And I'm like, hmm. But you got married with the understanding that two becomes one. So which one is it? Do you believe in the constitution of marriage or you don't? Yeah, you live in your body, but that doesn't mean it's yours. You both have the body. So I'm gonna leave it as that because I know they me. Yeah, I mean, what do you think though? I got married with the understanding two becomes one, you know?
Yeah, it's no longer your body, it belongs to the both of you. Your
Yeah,
body is his body is yours. It
exactly.
is it is now how it is. But in this society for where they will use it against you. And then at the end they will wonder why the other person is just ignoring you and deciding to go and do something. It's because
Mhm.
of things like that.
Yeah. So most Christians feel unprepared for marriage intimacy because they haven't been taught under. Because if we're saying, "Oh, as a Christian, this is what you're supposed to do," well, did you teach me? No, you did not. They feel even unsafe talking about sex. Like it's like a word that didn't. Don't talk about it. Guilty, guilty for natural desires that God created. It's a natural thing. I know a lot of my people is gonna be like, "Oh, y'all talking all day, y'all talking about sex." It's part of life. People are going through it. Like, talk about it. I'm grown.
Mm-hmm.
So if they come from me, I am grown. Okay. I got two children. How do you think that happened? Whatever.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
So
Because, well,
here's a big one. Because people are not being taught the safe and appropriate way. There's a lot of Christians. I promise if God was to open a mirror to see how many Christians are dealing with this, many high issues like porn addiction, trauma, or sexual frustration. People don't talk about it. But if we make these conversations, especially in our African community, that's why I wanted us to talk about this. Because it's still a taboo to talk about it, even though we know it's prevalent around, but it's still like you gotta walk on eggshells to talk about it. The church only talk about it to make you feel bad, to create some shame about it, instead of talking about the goodness of it and how the appropriate way to go about it. What the Bible says about sex, it said God designed sex as good, not dirty. So I want people to know that. Biblical sexuality includes communication, mutual pleasure, respect, consent, and covenant connection. So, in my opinion, every time a husband and wife, become intimate with each other, you're renewing your love for each other.
of course, that's
That's
the way of communicating.
right. That's love. That's you checking in and saying, "Yeah, I'm here." So, for us women, when we are not, communicating in that way, makes men frustrated. I hope my husband is not listening.
Women gotta understand that at the end of the day, if you check the way your husband is prior to you having that intimacy with him, and then check how his behavior becomes and what he does after, that will pretty much tell you exactly what it is.
Mm.
Because that way, you've just reset his brain, his mood, and everything. And now, you pretty much have a happy man that is willing to go to the ends of the world for you. But if you are restricting and you're telling him, if my body is mine, my dear, you've just created, you have just basically started creating the paths leading to separation. Because
Really
from there now,
not important. We're gonna discuss another topic.
hmm,
Why did married people don't know how to communicate that? I have another topic under there that I actually wanted us to talk about that before we talk about this, but I was like,
hmm,
talk about the church since it's Sunday. Hmm.
it as well. But yeah, on a serious note, women, at least both men and women, really need to. It's
Yeah.
about time that that conversation starts happening in church as well, on a different level. If it's the youth, this thing, because usually the leaders of the youth is always a adult, right? So at
Yeah.
that point, if pastor does not want to talk about it because he's scared, then leader of the youth talk about it, because no matter what, you are supposed to be the one pretty much guiding them. It's like a shepherd guiding the sheep. Same thing, leader of the youth will guide the youth in the right direction. And it will help them because that way it would also make them feel comfortable. Because you got to think about it. If you don't have that conversation with them, then it's like you're basically creating that void. But if you have that conversation and you let them feel comfortable that they can come talk to you, it will make things a lot better.
That's true.
Because then when things are going the wrong way, you would know and you'll be able to help put them in the right path. So parents or church leaders need to come down from that their high horse and realize that this is a whole different era that we live in. Even though they are trying to be silent about it, whether they like it or not, it is still being said out there. It is still in the open. Technology has made it possible for them to pretty much see all the nasties and know about the information, but it turns out to be the wrong information that has been preached out there, that is being displayed out there. So it is you as a pastor to now preach about it. Because what if your members are actually hearing the wrong information from a different pastor? Then what? So they really need to start doing it. It will be good. Silence does not help anything. Silence just destroys.
I
It's the
agree.
quickest way to destroy things.
I agree. But getting to the closing part of this, because I think we kind of like cover almost everything, but I just want us to talk about why the church needs to talk about sex more, and you really gave a lot of information already. When the church starts to talk about sex, it promotes healing, right? It heals some people. Some people probably grew up, didn't have the opportunity to hear it, and now they're in the church who's gentle. Like I feel like you have to be gentle with this topic. You have to be considerate. You have to be patient, and you have to be kind. And you need to definitely have compassion because let's just say you're talking about sex is the appropriate way to a co-creation. There's people, you know, who've been going through a lot. So that's why I say you have to be very gentle and you have to keep it very general and brief unless somebody is coming to you. You have to speak directly how the scripture teaches us to talk about this. Um, and I think once they do that, it really do strengthen marriages. It helps people in marriages to understand. Let's just say someone who grew up with their parents, like we know in African households, you could be as 30 years old and still living with there, in here, fighting at night, but in your whoever house you live at, beating and saying you want to keep things away. People put one and two together. The trauma from that, they haven't healed. So when you talk about it, it really helps marriages. People don't understand the boundaries, how to, you know, be considerate of the other person. It also affirms healthy desire. So instead of people just being out here doing regular, some of the things I've heard that people are doing, I'm just like, I'm under the rock. So, so I was just like, I listened to some lady, the things they were saying, especially when you work in the hospital, the things you would hear people saying that they do, you're just like, I pray my husband never hear these things. You know, it's just crazy, but it really create and affirm healthy desire. It also helps single Christian navigate abstinence without shame. Like what if, it's a feeling that gets into you. I remember from certain age to certain age, I didn't even care or know about that. But when you reach at the age where your body have mature up and you start to figure out, oh wow, this is supposed to be that, that's when your curiosity start to build up even more. But I feel like if you start talking about it early and somebody gets to that stage where they're body is ready for whatever that is, they know how to control themselves and how to conduct things. But if you don't know, and it's that, that's why people are reckless out here, just doing whatever, you know. And it also um, teaching to teach biblical intimacy instead of letting culture take over, which is what I feel like the church have done. And now we're to this place where people don't even know what really, how Christian really is supposed to be behave when it comes to these topics and things like this. So having that early conversation is definitely important. So I want us to do a reflective question, and then we'll do our closing. Did Are you in a church right now, Richmond? No, I can't hear you. I asked that because I was gonna say,
Yes, I am in the church.
okay, did or does your church teach you about healthy sexuality?
It's Winners Chapel International Tulsa. What do you think? No, they don't discuss about that.
That's a big church.
Exactly.
Hmm, they should have that. They should have. I hear
They
about
should, but they all follow the doctrine of Canaan land. So as a result, it's definitely going to be a no. Unless Bishop Oyedepo decides to talk about it, then that's when the rest of them will talk about it. But if not, no, they won't.
it. Wow, that's interesting. My church, I don't think we really like sit down to talk about this, but I've heard here and there in certain sermon, it comes up, but it's not like I'm teaching. I have to go to Bible study. I went to that one, and I was not no Bible study during the week. I'm sorry to say that. I'm actually not sorry. But I say that because Bible study, I believe when you go there, there's a test. You're talking about, you're really teaching people about the Bible during the weekdays. Like if I come there, I expect to bring my Bible. We're going to dissect into a topic, and you're telling me about things, not just sit there and talk about, things like you're preaching on a Sunday. No, 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 no. I'll wait for Sunday to virtue. I'm sorry I said that. Sorry. So another question: do you feel the church's silence helped you or it hurt you? For me, I say it hurt me. I would say the church not really talking about, sex and teaching young men and women like myself hurt me in a way because I was so naive to a lot of things when I got involved in that side of life. And I had to do my own self reflection and read about things and learn on my own how to, handle myself in situations like that. So I think, and not a lot of people have that thought process to do that. So yeah, definitely, yeah, I believe the church is hurting everybody that they're not talking about it. And also, I'm glad that this school is talking about it, but I don't want the school to be the first person to talk to my kids. So that's why, for me, it's important for me to introduce the conversation first. When they get to ask a strange topic. How about you? You okay?
Oh, sorry. I'm having a hard time hearing you. It keeps breaking. That's why I was screening my eyes like, what?
Yeah, no, I said, do you think the church silence about sex has hurt you, or has it, or it just don't matter to you?
To me, it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me because one, before I got into Winners, I was just like you said, your kids are very, very smart. It's the same way I've kind of grew up in the streets that the streets taught me reality.
Sure.
So as a result, I don't really care if the church didn't teach me, and I knew fully well that they were not going to teach me. So I just had that proper upbringing because I was raised in a military household. So that military mindset and everything helped me train my mind to know what is right or wrong. So the church neither hurt me nor helped me in any way pertaining to that.
Yeah, I agree too, in a way. I agree. Finally, excuse me, what conversation did you wish you had growing up regarding this topic? What is one thing that you thought like I would say it's a lot of things I wish I had a conversation about because I hate to say this, but I would like to say I learned a lot of things on my own, which is sad. But at the same time, I like that too. I like it, but I don't like it. I wouldn't have my kids learn things on their own. I mean, they will learn some things on their own, but like especially regarding this topic, I wish someone had really sat down with me, even though I don't feel like I'm not reckless about it. But it really helps you to understand things differently when you sit down and talk about it. But it's like a taboo conversation. And creating that fear in that environment where you're not free to talk about it. I'm definitely not doing that with my children. It would be a conversation that we have to talk about. What do you want to know? And we both will learn together uh, about the topic. But yeah, that's the only thing. I really wish somebody sat down, with me, like learning about my cycle as a woman. I read all those things on my own. I was self-taught for a lot of things, and I wish I don't want to blow the alarm, but you guys, by the grace of God, I'm hoping next year I drop my book. I hope you guys will read it. I'm in editing mode right now, but yeah, I've been working on this for like 10 years. News break. So if you're watching this, y'all don't know about it. But yeah, a lot of my life experiences are nonfiction, but a lot of things in that is related to my life and my walk and things like that. So if you're interested in that, it will be dropping. Like, I don't know which Monday I want to do it, but there's a lot of process so you gotta go through editing, all that publishing and all. So I'm in the process of that now that I have finally completed. I've dotted my last punctuation and I'm excited. I'm the editing book. So hopefully you guys will read that and enjoy it. I remember when I wrote the first chapter, I literally cried. I cried. This has been happening for 10 years. So for me to be done with it, I'm super excited. It's gonna be interesting. I will share more with you guys as things fall in place, but by the grace of God, we got our book. We add another title to ourselves, author. Right. But yeah, let's see. So what would be your closing for this topic?
My closing for this topic will pretty much be, well, first and foremost, disclaimer, I am not a therapist, neither am I a sex expert or anything. I'm just speaking from my mind. One, as Anna had stated, between the age of 8 and 14, start talking to the kids about it. Not in depth, though, just basically go baby steps, but start talking to them about it so that way they can start at least learning some informations about it. Sure, we say we would love for the church to talk about sex or start educating the youths about sex and making them understand. But it doesn't mean that we should rely on the church to expect that to happen because not all churches do it. So it is the parents' responsibility to do that. And then if the church backs it up by assisting, then awesome. Even as a grown up, sometimes my mom still talks to me about it, even though I'm a married man. But it is life. So because she's trying to remind me. That is her way of putting it. Remind me. So because knowledge never expires. So she keeps on reminding me. So at the end, just take the initiative, do your best, try to educate your kids about it so that way they can start knowing. And then even though the church is silent, still continue doing it. Eventually, the church will adjust to the current age or they will adjust to reality, even though they are not in reality yet because they are scared to lose grandma and grandpa or elders. Because technically, in churches that we know nowadays, the elders are the ones that are really running the church, not even the pastors. Because they try to be all nice and polite and keep things clean for the sake of our elderlies. So bear with them. But just do your best, educate your young ones, and keep striving for great. And if you have the opportunity to also educate those around you, it shouldn't just be your kids that you educate. If you have your siblings, you can also educate them. If you know the informations and you feel to be beneficial to them, then educate them as well. And by God's grace, we will all keep on excelling in life and we will definitely be able to overcome the temptations that this world is presenting and them trying to influence our kids. Also, media limits the media that the kids watch, or if they are watching, pay attention to what they watch. So that way, they don't get corrupt and get wrong informations because wrong informations are out there nowadays as well. So we should try to do our best to parent our kids the right way. And like I said, God will definitely give us the strength to continue to strive greatly and to raise these children because God put us as their parents for a reason, for us to basically do the right thing, which is raise these kids the right way. And that way, they will grow up to be amazing kids because we want those lawyers, doctors, engineers
Yeah.
in life. We don't want nuisance because we have four paths that they can go: lawyer, engineer, doctor. So we want them to go that way. Doesn't mean that I'm disclaiming the other one. Or if you want to be a musician, you can be a musician too. Just make sure you find alternative, have backup plan. Because
My daughter said to be a doctor and a bus driver.
a bus driver. Okay, if they want to do doctor and bus driver, no problem. They can go into logistics and still be a doctor. That's fine.
She was like, "Mommy, I really like the bus driver, the school bus driver. I want to be a doctor, but I also want to be a bus driver." I said, "Okay, whatever you want to be, just work at it."
Don't worry, by the time they grow up, she will change.
I know. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for Anna, sharing up the comment section a little bit. You guys, I'm so sleepy. I'm barely hanging on this weekend. I don't know, but I have a lot tomorrow to do too. But anyways, this was a very interesting topic. I don't know what happened to the rest of our crew, but everybody's preparing for the week, of course. Thank you so much. If you come across this later on, I'm trying to pull my ending notes here that I have. If you come across this later on, we drop some knowledge. Again, disclaimer, we are not relationship experts on here. We share our thoughts and opinions on any given topic that we discuss on here. So if you think the information shared here is beneficial to you, use it at your own risk. Don't come and saying, yeah, y'all on your podcast, y'all told me what you did. No, 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 no. We are having conversation. And if you're interested in it, join us. And if you want to use it, you find it useful to your life, use it. If not, throw it out. Okay. But anyways, with that being said, we definitely appreciate you guys catching the show, sharing it, watching later on, and interacting. Definitely appreciate you guys for that. Very busy weekend, and I know um, we're having a Thanksgiving coming up, so we're going to have a little playful Thanksgiving, thing on the show. I'm trying to think how we should do it, but we'll see. Because that day I'll be traveling out of town to family for Thanksgiving, so I won't be around. But this coming weekend I'll probably be here for the show, but I don't know yet. I have to figure it out. I have to be at a funeral um on Saturday, so we'll see. I'll make sure I come back so that way it's in town, so we'll see how that work out. But I wanted to give you guys a heads up. Yeah, no, we've changed the show time so many times. And just want you guys to bear with me. I'm a mom of two. My life is flipping around here and there. So I want to inform you guys very soon we will have to change the show time because my life has to be changed around a little bit. So, but more to come on that. And then closing of this topic is the church hurting Christians by not talking about sex. The answer is yes, and the answer is no. To each their own. Maybe you don't think it's hurting you. Maybe you think it is hurting you. But overall, based on what we see, I think it's a year. Yes. Silence never protects, and I wish the church will know that. Everybody know, just because you're silent doesn't mean everything's okay, and that works with everything in life. Um, Silence definitely isolates people. It takes people away, and they figure things on their own. And the church can't afford silence on something God created with intention and purpose. So it's not good that the church is going to be quiet about this. If it's for good, we have to use it for good. And if the church is there to help us stay grounded and make our way to the other side of glory, then the church needs to assume our responsibility and make sure that they are playing their part in our lives as we work our way to make it up there. Also, it's time for a healthier biblical conversation that breaks chains and builds stronger believers. So, like I told you guys, I am a traditional, let me change that around. Traditional African Christian woman. I believe in most of the value. I also believe in some of the other values. Um, I am also modern woman. So I'm traditional, modern, and I'm all in one. Figure it out. Go talk to your ancestor about it. If you don't believe me, whatever. But anyways, with that being said, I feel like this is the shortest show we've ever had. Oh my god. It looks like only me and Richmond need to be having the show. We always get to the point and we're done. We'll kick all those other ones out. I'm just playing. But it is a pleasure being on here this weekend, sitting in front of you guys, talking to you. I never take it for granted because I know someone is always one step away from doing something they're not supposed to do. And by listening to us, if it's something that helped you in any possible way, please go to the platform and leave a review. I know a lot of you guys DM me and says, "Oh, good job on this." I need you to put it on the platform. Go and put a review. Facebook do get review. We need our reviews. So you need to go on the review tab under the profile picture page and leave a review for this podcast. With that being said, Richmond, do you have anything else you want to tell the people other than
No, nothing. All good.
all right? Thank you so much for your time. Thank you to Anna. Thank you to Richard. Thank you to Jimmy. Thank you to Peterson. Thank you to our co-host. I need to check in and see what's going on from him. I hope all is well with everyone. As we may God bless each and every one of us life to live in each other's solid earth. Thank you guys so much. And thank you, Richmond, for always making it on here, even if the schedule is tight. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Have a good night. We see
You
ya.
too.
Y'all need to watch this. Not too long today.
Hmm?
No, I'm telling them they need to watch it. It's not too long today. Just
Mm-hmm.
1 hour. Happy. Iris, man. But it's happening to my mama's duty to prepare for school tomorrow. Oh,
Gotcha.
Lord. All right. Take care. Bye.